Okay, we'll get started in an easy seat. So kneeling or cross legs or lotus or on the edge of a chair. We'll spend a few moments checking in here and then we'll move through some arm stretches. So just see that you're supported enough that you can feel comfy in the hips and comfy in the spine as we sit here for a moment. So as you begin to gather your props, choose your seat, settle into sort of awareness of what's happening in the physical body. We'll find that little place to gaze a few feet in front of us, or when and if you like, go ahead and float the eyes fully closed. Letting the arms just settle to a space that's comfy for now, allowing them to rest somewhere so we're not really thinking about what the arms are doing. And allow your awareness to come fully inside your own body and come right into the center of your being, right into the core of your being. And just notice when I made that invitation, where did your awareness land? So for some of us, we may feel it lower down in the belly. For some of us, a little higher up in the solar plexus. For some of us, a little higher up at heart center. So just notice that idea of center or core of your awareness or your being. Where does that feel like it's coming from this morning? And allowing your awareness to just sit in that space for a moment and begin to notice what sorts of sensations or experiences or emotions come up as you keep your awareness here. Or what do you notice? What do you hear? What do you feel? Allowing your awareness to fully sit there in the center of your being. And begin to expand your breath. So deepening your inhales and slowing your exhales. Continuing with that sense of noticing what sorts of movement, sensation, sounds, emotions, maybe new ones that arise or things that change. So you sit with that awareness at the center of your being and deepen into your breath. Gently letting go of breath control. And then imagine beginning to grow your awareness outward from that center point. So slowly expanding out toward the edges of your being until you can envelop your whole self in your awareness, so your mind's eye. And then taking that moment to gently check in with your tissues, with your joints, with anything that's maybe asking for attention or feeling a little different or off this morning. That gentle inventory. What is your body saying? What does your body need? And setting that gentle intention to move through your practice with mindful awareness, choosing the version or the depth of a stretch that's going to suit you and your body best this morning, paying particular attention to anything that's coming up for you in this body check-in, anything that's needing a little more or less stretch or a little extra gentleness. Yeah, beginning to float or flutter the eyes open, and we'll just gently rest the hands on the thighs, and kneeling or cross legs, or if we're on a chair, we're just gonna rest hands palm face down and allow the hands to organically slide around as you shrug the shoulders a few times. So shrug a few times going forward, up, back, down. And then pause, switch directions, back, up, forward, down. And let those shoulders soften all the way away from the ears. Imagine you could grow your head up longer away from your ears. Away from your shoulders, creating more space between ears and shoulders. There we go. And then keeping that length, growing long, long, long from the crown of the head, trying to keep length on both sides of your neck. Start to lower the left ear over toward the left shoulder till you find that little stretch on the right. And then again, keeping that idea of length as you start to roll forward, roll the chin down toward the chest. Eventually, slow roll right ear to right shoulder. Pause, check in, still long in both sides of the neck, left shoulder heavy. And slow rolling chin to chest. Left ear, left shoulder. Again, find that little stretch in the right side of the neck. Pause. Lift that right hand up off of the thigh. Reach those fingertips out so fingers are reaching opposite direction of where the crown of the head is pointing. And then start to just play with that right arm. So it could come a little further forward, a little further back, a little higher, or a little lower. Find a space where the neck says, ooh, yes, that feels good, or that feels therapeutic. Slowly sliding that right hand back into the thighs. Slow roll down, chin to chest. Right ear, right shoulder. Pause. And find a stretch for the left side of the neck, bringing that hand out, and then maybe experimenting with how it changes the sensation of the stretch as I move that arm. Slowly sliding that left hand back to the lap. We'll slow roll down chin to chest. This time pause with the gaze down toward the lap. And then imagine you could create a little more length at the back of the neck. And then either start some organic half neck roll, side to side, swaying one ear to shoulder and then the other, or if neck is okay with this morning, open up to some full neck rolls, finding those full circles. For fully circling, pause, switch directions. Allow the chin to fall to chest one last time, pause. And then we'll lift the head all the way back up, find your long neutral spine. And then we'll sweep both hands up to the base of the skull, interlace the fingers at the base of the skull, and coming into some flowing spinal movement, leading with our elbows. So big inhale to prepare, find your length. As you exhale, navel to spine, gaze comes down, elbows reach forward. Inhale, rocking forward, heart opens, elbows drop back, gaze comes high. And flowing once more each direction. After that last one, finding your way back to neutral. And we'll release those hands, sweep them all the way around to the lower back, interlace the fingers at the lower back, and then with an inhale, lift those hands further from the spine, resting in an exhale. Inhale if you have further to go, lifting those arms a little higher. Resting in an exhale. Inhale if you have further to go, lifting those hands a little higher. And this exhale, softening those hands all the way back down to the low back, and we'll unlace the fingers, bring the hands around beside the hips, give the arms a little shake. And then you're all tiny and I don't have my glasses on, but if you're up on a chair, hop down onto the floor and we'll move through a gentle wide forward fold. So starting with knees bent, toes dangling, and just rounding your way forward. You can have some side to side movement. As you come down, you can find a little movement in the legs or the knees, coming all the way down until you find some good sense of opening into the hips. And then starting that slow roll all the way back up toward neutral. And then if we're up on a prop, we'll go ahead and scoot our prop out of the way, bring sits bones down onto the mat, and then send your left leg long, straightening the knee, bend that right knee, bring your heel in toward your groin, bring the hands around in front of that right shin, and then we'll move through our two versions here, straight spine and then rounded spine. So find your inhale to create that length, your exhale to start to come forward as far as you can go, staying long. And then take those left toes and imagine you're gonna pull them back in toward your left shin. And then with that next exhale, allowing yourself to round forward, creating any side to side movement that feels good as you roll over, walking the hands away. Always an option to grab a prop here to support arms or head or belly. Finding a few breaths, imagining those inhales are drawing the crown of your head a little further from your core. Your exhales are allowing you to soften a little more into your fold. And beginning to slowly walk the hands back in toward the body, lifting our way all the way toward neutral. And when we get to the top, we're going to bring the right hand around behind the hip. Find a little support in that hand so you can lean back enough to bend your left knee and tuck your left heel back toward your left glute. Come back to that long neutral spine. Find a lot of length. And then twisting yourself toward that right hip or towards the right side of your mat. Notice now your left glute is either resting on your mat or it's really, really close. We're going to bring our hands on either side of that right knee. And then we're going to walk forward just a little bit, just as far as you can go without that left hip lifting up off the mat. And we'll pause there. And then with your next exhale, allow yourself to walk further forward, letting that left hip lift as much as you would like, Walking over, folding over right hip as far as you would like. Again, you can grab some props to support arms or head here as you just soften all the way over, walking your hands out toward the side of your mat. And then again here, imagining those inhales, just creating a little bit of subtle length. Exhales, creating a little more rounding and releasing down. Getting a slow roll back up, walking the hands in toward that right hip. When we get to the top, we'll lift the crown of the head right back over the center of the hips, twist back to neutral, and then just briefly twist yourself in the opposite direction. And then coming back to center, if you need, lean back a little, find some support in that right arm to send the left leg out. We'll send the right leg out too, and then just point both toes, point, 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 point as far as you can. And then flex the toes back toward the shins as much as you can. And relaxing the feet, give them a little shake. And then we'll leave that right leg as it is. Bring that left heel in. Bringing hands down toward the floor. And then finding your two versions. So starting with your long spine, big inhale. Exhaling the heart forward, pause. Draw those right toes back in toward the shin. And then with your next exhale, rounding forward, walking the hands away, supporting yourself in whatever way feels good. And then coming back to that awareness of the sensation of the breath and the thought of inhales creating length, exhales creating a little more rounding forward, a little more stretch. Getting a slow roll back up, releasing the hands, walking the hands in. When we get back to the top, we'll bring that left hand around behind the hip, find a little support so you can bend your right knee, tuck that heel back toward the glute. Find a nice long spine, twist toward that left hip, let fingers frame the left knee. And we're noticing what's happening with that right glute. It's resting on our mat or it's still really close. We'll pause here, or if we can fold a little further without lifting that hip, reach the heart out to the left a little more. And then with your next exhale, rounding yourself forward. Let that right hip lift as much as feels good, walking your hands out as far as you'd like, melting down over that left hip, maybe supporting your arms or forehead with a block or a bolster. Starting a slow lift back up. When you get to the top, first moving through neutral, and then that brief twist in the opposite direction. And then we'll send both legs out wide again, and then just find your point, flex at the ankles, and then a little shake for the legs. And then we'll move through one more version of a forward fold here with a few different options for the legs, depending on what's happening with your knees today. So this can be one where it's really nice to bring a little extra lift under the pelvis if you have a little pillow or rolled up blanket handy. So first option would be to leave our right leg extended, to bring our left heel in, and then we're gonna lift that leg, cross that ankle across the right thigh, just inside the knee. Next option would be fire log pose. So the right knee will also bend and the shins are gonna rest on top of one another. So left ankle's over right knee, left knee over right ankle, and you can support either one of the knees here with a little bit of a rolled up blanket or pillow, or we can bring the heels all the way in toward the glutes and have one knee stacked over the other knee. So find whichever version is feeling best for you this morning. And then keeping the legs as they are, we'll add our cow face arms. So since we have our left leg on top, our right arm will be our top arm. So we're gonna find width in the fingertips, space in the fronts and backs of the shoulders. Bring your right arm up, bend that elbow, reach your fingertips down between your shoulder blade, and then if you like, fingertips to opposite elbow, drawing that elbow in, or if you like, left hand down, bend the elbow, reach that hand up. Let the hands just rest at the spine, or if you like, grab onto a little bit of your shirt. And pausing here. And then keeping those elbows as they are, keeping length from the crown of the head. Just start to gently fold yourself forward, keeping a long spine. Fully releasing and unwinding the arms, letting the arms just come down to the sides of the body or rest on the legs. Now round into your fold, rounding down toward your extended leg or toward your knees. Starting your slow roll all the way back up. When you get there, we're going to release both legs and both legs all the way long on your mat. And then either staying here, lifting into an inverted plank as a counter pose, or sliding the heels in, bending the knees, lifting into an inverted table. So with knees extended, heels pressing, toes reach as you float the hips, or with those heels in, pressing into the whole sole of the feet, lifting the hips. And letting those hips come all the way back down. We'll either keep or send that left leg long. Bring that right ankle onto the thigh just inside the knee. So here's our first option, where we can bring that opposite leg in, stacking the lower legs on one another, or we can bring those knees stacked on top of one another, heels drawing in toward the glutes. So keeping in mind maybe a different version for the second side. So we'll settle in and then add our arms. So creating that space in the shoulder blades. And then the side left arm rises, fingertips reach down, and opposite fingertips come to elbow. And we pause, or find your cow face arms. Find your long spine, and then letting the heart draw forward a little. Releasing the arms all the way back down, letting the hands rest beside the hips, or letting hands come to the lap. Allow yourself to round forward now into your fold. Starting a slow roll back up toward neutral. When you get there, releasing both legs long, moving through a inverted plank or table as your counter pose. And then as you lower back down, coming back to a seat to move into seated bound angle. So again, option, bring a little height under the hips here if that feels good for you. We'll let the soles of the feet reach together and the knees reach out to the side. Also option 2, support the knees if that feels good. And then we'll find nice long spine, big inhale, and then as you exhale, twisting the heart toward the right leg, take that left hand across midline, reaching for the thigh or the knee, and then right fingertips either reaching for the floor behind us, or bend that elbow, rest the back of the hand or the forearm on the low back. And then coming back to that idea of just feeling your inhale draw you tall, 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 and your exhale either resting in your twist, or if you have further to go, exhale, twist you a little more. Finding one more deep inhale, and then using an exhale to start to unwind all the way back towards center. Finding a big inhale, lengthening the spine. Exhale, twisting left. Find your arms this side. Find your breath. Pause. Starting a slow unwind back towards center. And then just briefly slide the hands around to the low back. Press those hands into the low back. Open through the heart a little. Let the elbows drop back, gaze lift. And then as long as it's comfortable, we'll keep our lower body in seated bound angle as we add in our eagle arms, or change up your seat to any comfortable seat for a moment. So again, we'll bring those arms out nice and wide, imagining that length or spaciousness. And then we'll wind up that left bicep over the right, rest the backs of the forearms and hands together, or come all the way around, palms together. And then imagine pressing those forearms forward, lifting fingertips up toward the ceiling. Pause. Finding one more big exhale, and then using your next inhale to unwind and expand. And we'll exhale right to the second side. Pressing the forearms forward, reaching the fingertips high. And getting ready to use that deep inhale to unwind, expand, reach. Exhale, just bring the hands down beside the hips, give the hands a little shake. And then we will bring the hands back behind the hips. Send your legs out, bring your knees together, lifting through either another inverted table or inverted plank. And then if you have legs extended, go ahead and slide your heels in, bend your knees. So you can bring your heels a little wide and windshield wiper your legs a few times. Lifting legs back to center, sliding your heels together, slow rolling down onto your back. And we'll first find knees to chest pose. So coming all the way down onto the spine, bringing bent knees into the belly, bringing the hands to the knees, squeeze, squeeze, squeezing the knees in toward the belly.
And then release your left leg, let your left sole of the foot come back down to your mat, both hands to the bent right knee, squeeze that bent right knee into the belly, slide the left leg long on your mat, reaching that heel away, knee mostly straight, and then draw your right toes back in toward your shin. And then relax that squeeze on your right knee just a little bit. Bring your left hand to the front of your left hip. Bring your right hand to the back of your right knee, keeping that left side of the pelvis nice and heavy. Let that right leg start to fall out to the right side. Lifting that right knee back up in line with the hip. Slide your left heel in toward your glute, bending your knee. Place your right ankle on your left thigh and move into your figure four, releasing both hands to slide to that left hamstring or shin, gently drawing the legs into the belly. Right knee reaches away, toes pull back towards shins. Releasing the hands, letting left sole of the foot come to the mat. Bring your hands out to a low T or a T. Heel toe the left foot just off the left side of the mat. Let the legs fall to the right, left thigh falling into the center of your mat. Slow, lifting the knees back up. Heel toeing that left foot back in line with the left hip. Letting legs fall the opposite direction. Find your spinal twist. So sole of the right foot reaches for the floor on the left, and then we turn the gaze out to the right. Lifting both legs back up. Releasing both knees back into the belly, knees to chest pose. Find that little squeeze of both sides. And then bringing hands over to left knee, squeeze that knee in, send your right leg long. Relaxing that, squeezing in a little bit, bringing the right hand down to the front of the right hip, helping you remember to keep that side of the pelvis heavy. We'll bring left fingers to the back of left knee. That leg fall as far to the side as it will go without lifting that right glute. Lifting the left knee back in line with the hip, sliding right heel in, left ankle, right thigh, gently reaching that left knee away from the body as you lift the right thigh into the belly, hands to shin or hamstring, pulling toes back towards shins as you gently pull that leg in. Releasing right sole of the foot back down onto the mat. Find a comfy place for the arms. Right foot comes just off the right side of the mat. And then we let the legs fall to the left. Lifting knees back up. Heel toeing right foot back in line with right hip. Letting the legs fall the opposite direction. Find your spinal twist. Maybe gazing out to the left. Slowly starting to make your way back towards center, lifting the legs, and then eventually releasing that left leg so you can bring both bent knees back into the belly, knees to chest pose, give those legs a little squeeze. And then releasing feet down onto the floor, find nice wide feet so we can find some supine or lying windshield wipers. So letting your knees fall to one side, opposite hip pops up, moving a few times each direction. And then the next time the knees fall to the right, let them stay. Sweep both arms up overhead. Interlace the fingers, flip the palms to face away from the crown of the head. Reach long in the hands, and then start to reach those hands opposite the knees, and then reach through the knees or reach through the hands. Stretch, 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 stretch. And then let everything relax down onto the mat. And then begin to slide the hands and shoulders back toward the center of the mat. Lift the knees back up, windshield wiper the legs a few times. Next time legs fall to the left, let them stay. Reach away with those hands, interlace fingers, pressing away from the crown of the head, and then reach them over to the right, opposite where the knees are reaching, and then reach through the knees, reach through the hands, stretch, 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 stretch. And relax everything down onto your mat. Sliding hands and shoulders back toward the center of the mat. Lifting the knees. Flowing a couple more times side to side. And then lifting the knees to center, flowing back through your knees to chest pose. And then into your happy baby. So stillness in your happy baby if you like, or a little side to side rocking in your happy baby if you like. And then allow yourself to find stillness. If you're moving, reach the knees a little further out to the sides, reach the soles of the feet to touch, drawing those heels in toward the groin. If the feet are in reach, bring the hands around to the outer edge of the feet. Use those hands to draw the feet even a little closer as you reach the knees away from you. And then release the hands, release the feet, bring the feet all the way back down onto your mat. Bring the hands overhead, send the legs long, straight knees. Find a full body stretch, toes to fingers. And then allow the arms to come down by the sides, but be a little wide. Allow the legs to open up a little wide, and we'll end with a aligned side bend. So we're going to keep the two sides of our pelvis equally heavy. So all glutes are going to stay equally resting on our mat. And we're just gonna start to sweep our right foot out to our right side as far as it will go without shifting the hips. And we're gonna start to sweep the left leg over to meet the right. Won't get all the way there, but we're reaching in that direction. Then we're gonna start to shimmy the shoulders to the right as we reach the right hand down toward the right foot, finding this deep C shape in the spine. And you can stay here, or you can start to sweep that left hand up overhead, elbows bent, palms facing the ceiling. We slide that arm as far as it will go without lifting the shoulder, or grab a prop to support your left shoulder. Taking a few breaths here and just kind of noticing what's happening with the spine. We want this to be a relaxed side bend. So if it's feeling really intense, we might need to decrease that C shape in the spine. Or as you breathe into this and the tissues relax, you may find you can actually increase that side bend. If left arm is overhead, we'll start releasing by sweeping that arm back around to the left side. We'll start to shimmy shoulders back toward the center. Sliding left foot back to the left, right foot in a little, and then move through any pose in center as a counter pose that feels good. So east to west stretch, happy baby, windshield wipers, bridge, knees to chest. And then settling yourself back into that wide Shavasana, legs a little wide, arms a little wide. Noticing hips, glutes. We're going to keep both glutes on the mat as we slide that left leg out to the left. Right leg slides over as if it's going to try to touch that leg. Shoulders start to shimmy over so we can reach the left hand down toward left foot. And if you found a good stretch, stay here. If you want to bring it up a little further into the shoulder, maybe that arm reaches overhead, elbow bends, palms facing the ceiling as that arm slides overhead. Support that shoulder as needed. And again, just checking in, option to decrease that C shape a little. Or as you soften and relax into those paraspinal muscles, maybe you can move a little more deeply into your stretch. Starting a slow release back towards center. And again, when you get there, choosing one last symmetrical pose to end with. So drawing your knees in toward your belly, finding a bridge, finding a happy baby, east to west stretch, whatever feels good. One last little movement before settling all the way down into a Shavasana or a supported Shavasana or a resting butterfly. And allowing yourself to fully relax into the support of that pose, the support of your space, your floor, your props. Checking in with all the tissues. If anything feels like it's still engaged, with a few big inhales, easy exhales, softening, letting go in all the tissues. Everything fully letting go, fully melting toward the earth. Noticing the breath, maybe inviting a little more softness and ease into the breath. Allowing the mind to rest empty. If thoughts arise, maybe bringing your awareness back to that sensation of easy inhale, easy exhale. And beginning to expand your awareness back outside your breath, outside your body. Inviting movement back into the body, a deeper breath or a stretch. And as you're ready, starting to make your way toward a seat. Settling into a nice comfy seat for a moment. Letting your awareness settle into the experience in all your tissues. Checking in, noticing there. Letting your awareness come back to the sense of your breath. Maybe taking a moment to notice thoughts, emotions. And allowing the hands to come to heart center. Thank you and namaste.